Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we have an interesting topic: blaming your friends for your breakup, blaming your family for your breakup, blaming your job for your breakup, blaming, blaming. It's not a good way to go. And this is a reason why you want to unpack your story, get your interpretation of the events that happen. Because if you are blaming someone, it's not going to serve you moving forward. Even if they had a role, even if they affected things, you do have to get through it. And by pointing the finger and going, yeah, they did this, he did this, they did that. What's up, Steven? It doesn't help you moving forward. And so I'm going to get into this topic a little deeper. I have an example of a client in the past that had a direct issue with this. And I believe it's been over a year. August 23rd of 2019. So nearly a year. And he had an update for me from a previous story that I helped him with, where he was, laying some blame on some friends, and I helped him out with it. So I'll get into that in a moment. If you like this video, throw me a like. If you don't like it, that's just fine. Don't like it, actually. It's better to have an opinion. Please put in the comments down below if you've had a situation where you've blamed friends in a breakup, or you can relate to anything I'm talking about, or if you just have a story you want to share or an anecdote. If you want to sign up for a live coaching session with myself, unpack your breakup fully and completely, get to the bottom of things, get to the seed and roots, and try to move forward. Not just try, but move forward. I provide a live coaching sessions, and we talk on Skype or Google Hangouts, and we get to the bottom of things. And if you don't find it helpful or useful moving forward, I will offer you a full refund. Go ahead and ask the question, Jesse. I won't, I'll probably be talking about the topic for the live stream today, but you can go ahead and drop the question and I will circle back to it if that's okay with you. So getting into, welcome, by the way, Jesse. I hope you're doing well. If it's the Jesse I'm thinking of, that I've had a coaching session with before. I know this is a tough time right now, probably. So blaming your friends for your breakup, blaming your family for the breakup, why it doesn't serve you moving forward. Take responsibility for what you played a role in the breakup. So, self-improvement 101 is to take responsibility for your life, take accountability. And a lot of times when you're at a breakup, there's some shame, there's some guilt, and, you don't want to address the fact that you had a role in it. And even if you have a friend, family member, or coworker that got involved and salted up the situation, you still have to take responsibility for your response. Okay. And so what a lot of people do, they like to go, hey, look what the friend did. Look what the friend did. What did you do? Well, if you're just blowing the whistle or riding around on a horse like Paul Revere, announcing that the British are coming, but you're not really going to do anything about it, that's where you're wrong. So friends and family, in my experience and talking to a lot of people, you can definitely blame them. I mean, they play a role in your relationship depending on how close your partner, your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, or wife is to them. They're going to affect their emotions and how they do things in some cases. Now, that's your partner's responsibility. Okay. A lot of times, for example, especially if it's a mother, father, or family member, if you think about it this way, and I don't know if everyone has this issue, but you have, I don't know, a drug addict in your family, you have someone that has some habits or gambling habits or money issues, or they're promiscuous, what have you. You're not very proud of the actions they do, but at the same time, if someone said something negative about your mother, or your father, or your sister, or your brother, and it's true, it still doesn't feel good. And a lot of times, if you say, well, your sister's doing this, or your mother and father are doing this, it's not going to be received very well in a lot of cases, because it's still that individual's kin. It's their family, it's their blood. And so usually they're going to be a little bit guarded with the idea of you making negative comments, even if it's true. And so you need to tread lightly in those cases, and you need to realize in certain situations, these family and friends are probably always going to be there unless we move away together or the circumstances change environment-wise. And that means if you guys change jobs, change cities, and you're going to have to deal with it. Okay. The idea that you're somehow going to complain about it and that's going to make it better is ridiculous, because the longer you're with someone, their family and friends you don't necessarily have to like them, but you do have to deal with them. You do have to respect them if that's what your partner is asking for. And I'd add one more thing to this. Realize that everyone has their own journey, everyone has their own life experience, and sometimes you think people are just selfish, they're jerks, they're cheap, they're outlandish. Something happened to them to make them the way they are. Okay? And so sometimes you need to give people a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt, and also ask yourself, where's your power in a situation? Don't get entangled in a web with a narcissist or a selfish individual. Don't get entangled in a political debate with someone that you and them are on, two different wavelengths. So there's a lot of power in agreeing to disagree. There's a lot of power in seeking to understand rather than to be understood. Um, and so I'm going to give you an example today of a situation where basically this client, he was in his early 20s, and he sent me this last August in 2019. So like I said, almost a year ago. And I'm not going to give you the details of the story. I'm going to kind of give you a summary or a cliff notes, because this was a private video response where if you don't want your video shared on YouTube, you can send me your full story. It's a paid service that I do, and then I'll make a video in response. A lot of people like this because they share a little bit more details they wouldn't want on YouTube necessarily. So he was basically with his high school sweetheart into his early 20s. And one day he went, he said she just broke up with him out of the blue. It surprised him. It came out of nowhere. She was starting to show that she liked to go out. She had some curiosity. She was interested in other guys. Well, one of the main things that really upset him is they had a large group of friends that were all from high school or the same town that they mingled with and whatnot. And basically he found out later on that, that she was seeing, I believe she was seeing someone else. And it wasn't confirmed if it was right when they broke up or what, but he was hurt, right? Because number one, he was hurt just from the breakup and he was puzzled by it. But then later on, he found out that she was talking to someone that was in their mutual friend base, and he thinks that contributed to them breaking up. And then when they broke up, some of their mutual friends, he felt like took her side or didn't give him enough intel or information. And so he stopped being friends with them. And it hurt him even more because he isolated away from these good friends. And I said, hey, look, I know I've been in the situation. A lot of people have been in the situation where you're friends with both people, especially in a circle of friends in your early 20s that you went to school with and stuff like that. And sometimes you don't want to be the messenger, because sometimes you kill the messenger. Sometimes you don't want to believe what someone's telling you. And so a lot of times friends, if they're friends with both sides for a variety of reasons, will be neutral. And then you're like, well, why didn't you tell me? It's like, I didn't want to get involved. Right now, to me, it's a judgment call, and it's a judgment call on you as a friend. And the reality is, if your friend and his girlfriend are both mutual friends of you and your partner, it's very difficult to tell your friend, hey, I think your girlfriend's been cheating, or I think she's seeing someone else, or I think she has feelings. And it's not significantly factual. It's just something you assume or you think Then the guy breaks up and he blames his friends for not giving him the intel or giving him the heads up. So he was really pissed off, and he goes, two of the friends are really close friends of his. So I say, hey, look, dude, instead of just cutting them off, right? Instead of just cutting them off, we unpack this later on in a live coaching session. I go, if they're really good friends with you, I go, confront them. Don't blame them, and just say, hey, look, dude, when me and so-and-so broke up, I thought you knew and you could tell me, but like, where were you on this? And and so he went back to these friends that he had just cut off. And basically he was shifting blame from his ex, whom hurt him. He was shocked by the breakup. He thought they had a really good relationship. It came out of nowhere, and he wanted someone to blame. And the reality is, even his ex wasn't at blame, because she was no longer interested. She was being honest. She was no longer wanting to be in a long-term relationship. She was curious, which happens a lot with relationships in the early 20s. She was already mingling with other guys. And this guy was caught off guard by it. So then he went back to the friend. The friend goes, look, I did know some things. I wasn't sure of it. I didn't want to get involved, and I felt really bad about it. And my girlfriend associates with your girlfriend. So it was a tough position to be in. But in no way or shape or form was I trying to keep valuable information from you. And the friend goes, I'm sorry, bro. And they became friends again. And I said, if you can get anything from our live coaching session, regaining a good friend that didn't do anything with ill intentions, right? Because like I said, I've seen plenty of times before that some guy goes, hey man, I think your girlfriend's cheating on you. The guy goes back to his girlfriend or boyfriend, vice versa, and goes, yes, John said that you were cheating, and then they deny it, and now your friend becomes a liar, right? And so it's a difficult position to be in. So he went back to that friend. So he circled back to sending me an update recently, and he just said, it's been a while since we last spoke. I wanted to give you an update, everything because you played an instrumental role on me moving forward, which is always the goal in a live coaching session. It's not to get your ex back. It's to get you to move forward. If you remember my story, my ex and I shared a common group of friends. And after speaking with you, I went and reconciled with most of them. And after reconciling, 2 friends actually came forward and told me the truth about my ex. So basically, and I'm not going to read the whole original story, which was longer, but he had written off the whole group of friends as sort of selling him out in some way or not being there for him. And it was a difficult situation. So he said 2 friends actually came forward and told him the truth about my ex. Turns out she was cheating for a while behind my back and actually started dating this dude while still with me. Okay. So is that your friend's fault? Hell no. Now, depending on the relationship you and your friends have or the type of person your friend is, they're wrong nor right in telling you. Now, if it's me and it's my buddy, I'm going to tell him. Okay. But I don't know the deepness of these guys, this mutual friends group and how they're entangled. Like I said, if someone's getting knowledge that your girlfriend's cheating, but you don't know directly if it's true or not, whatnot, I don't know if you want to drop that. Okay. So he writes on, I was glad finally got the truth after finding out I was hit with a wide range of emotions, anger, embarrassment, and mostly just felt disrespected. As a dude with a lot of integrity and pride, I felt I was owed the truth from her. My stance was, you did what you did, whatever, for at least come clean and take ownership of it. Okay. So right here is when someone goes, this happens a lot. People go, well, this is not what I would do. Your girlfriend was cheating on you. She didn't want you to know. It happens a lot. Is it right? No. But you have to deal with it and go, once you find out, you're done. You holding on to like, well, my friends didn't tell me. I can't believe she did that to me. That's fine. The anger, the embarrassment, that's fine. Those are real feelings that you can't fight and you have to find a way to neutralize. But at the same time, you also need to take responsibility that now you know this information, you're fucking done. And this is how you reframe a situation like this. Well, I'm glad I didn't continue with an individual like this. I'm glad we broke up. I'm glad I know now. I'm glad I'm not with this individual any longer than I was before, right? So he writes on, I had a lot to say, but I never said anything at this point. I just kept it to myself and kept moving, which this is the part where I was like, outstanding. Keep on moving, as the great Bob Marley said. Focus on more important shit in life. Started flight school, actually went and traveled around Europe for a month, met some amazing people. Honestly, probably the best experience of my life. This gave me fucking chills because we talked about this, and this is exactly what you want to do when life gives you lemons and you want to make lemonade, the greatest cliche of all time, right? This is exactly the goal in a live coaching session. It's to get out what you need to get out. It's to vomit up all these bad feelings. But at the same time, like, hey, man, what are you going to do moving forward with your life? Because this relationship does not define you as an individual, does it? And it was like, oh yeah, I kind of have this plan. I want to be a pilot. That's a fucking cool ass thing. Like, if you want to talk about, I know right now with COVID, it's not high on everyone's, but like being a pilot, you got status, you get paid well, you get to travel. Women love a man in uniform. I mean, good for you. Go for it. So the fact that he moved forward with that, he went on a trip to Europe for a month. And met some really cool people, because I was like, look, you got this circle of friends from high school. Nothing wrong with that. Start exploring new avenues. So when I read this, I was like, this is exactly what you want to do out of a breakup. Painful, not painful, embarrassing, anger, whatever. You want to get the fuck back on deck and go, wait a minute. This relationship doesn't define me. What am I going to do with my life right now? I'm at ground zero. I don't got a whole lot less to lose. So what do I really want to do? Fuck it. Let me go to Europe for a month, right? That's what you want to do. Fast forward to last weekend. I actually ran into her randomly at a local park. We started talking, just casual conversation, nothing crazy. Then she mentioned she was still dating my old friend. In that moment, I knew this was the time to say what I had to say. So I did it. I told her off, kept it civilized, but kept that shit real. And you know what? I'm fine with that. That's not bitter. He felt in the moment, the spirit moved him, and he went like this. He went, fuck it. You know what? It's been a year. I've done some things. I feel better, but I'm not going to be casual in this situation. He went on offense. She was stunned and speechless. She had no idea I knew what really happened. And coach, it felt like a monkey got off my back, man. It felt good to get my nuts back and stand up for myself. I had to share. And this is something that right when you break up, I don't know if your emotions are in a place where you could maybe tell someone off. But the fact that he's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to say what I need to say and I'm going to leave it alone. I had to share the story with you because you could possibly use it for your clients. Sometimes you have to get shit off your chest and face it instead of keeping everything inside. A year ago, I would have never done that. I would have not said anything to her, but it was what we call growth. Thanks, coach, for everything, man. And this is one of those things where I don't necessarily, tell people, hey, yeah, go tell your ex off or something like this. But in this time and in this encounter, he felt like it was needed. He didn't just tell her off. He was telling her, like, I know exactly what went down. Fuck that. You think you're just going to be friendly and like, hey, how's it going? How you been? No. And then I like the fact now he's done. Now he's done. And I also love the fact that he went and did some things in the last year. He didn't just sit there and lick his wounds and watch TV and watch 1,000 different YouTube coaches, right? He went a little bit further, right? And he had said, after, because I have the notes from the other, he had some. You definitely went above and beyond for me, and it means a lot. Reflecting on everything, it's crazy how a person's mind can either be their best friend or their worst enemy. My self-talk prior to your video response was piss poor for almost 3 months. That's another thing I really... Yeah, go ahead and ask a question. I'm Dope. I'm really impressed with the fact that he recognized that's one thing that I work on with people is your self-talk's important, and you need to get out in front of that. You really need to get out in front of that. You have a little voice in your head that you actually have control over. He did go on offense. Thanks, Mary. I thought you'd like that, hon. Okay, so, if you want to ask a question or something like that, you go ahead and can, but it's not necessarily going to get answered lickety split. So I'm Dope. I don't know where you're from or if you've been on the channel before, but go ahead and shoot your question. Make sure it's clear and specific. So let me get to Jesse. Jesse, I hope you're well, bud. So I started talking to this girl, went and spent the weekend with her. Well, you fucking are pivoting out of things pretty well. Everything, Jesse and I did a live coaching session, so I know his situation. Everything went perfect. Happened to meet her family and really liked me. Wow, you met her family in the first weekend? Jeez, man. Said if it didn't work, I could come up and see them. Well, that's great that you already like the family. I mean, shit, that's half the battle, I suppose. I left. She gave me a hug and a kiss, said we could call me later. Never did. The past day, she hasn't really talked to me. Today, she randomly unfriended me on Facebook after she reached out to me last night. Anyways, just wondering your thoughts. Still has me on the social medias. Everything went perfect in your eyes. Obviously, it wasn't perfect for her. If she unfriended you, it's early on in the relationship. Don't overcompensate. Don't overreact. Keep moving, keep dating, and keep moving forward. Um, you don't want to call them. You're like, hey, I thought everything was great. Why did you unfriend me? No, fine. You unfriended me. That seems a little suspicious, but whatever. If I had to guess, she's still talking to you on text, but she unfriended you. Um, I I don't know exactly what it would be because I would need to know more details. So that being said, I wouldn't want to stick around and be like, "Did you unfriend me?" Arriving ready to contribute. Right on, Rob. And she unfriended me after I responded to something she posted asking people to post pics of her. I posted a pic from the weekend that was funny. Her family reacted to it positively, then boom. Well, obviously, okay, there you go. That's what it was. If she unfriended you instantly, then she didn't like the photo for whatever reason, and different strokes for different folks. And you just got to accept that, right? So if she was offended by it and you don't think it was offensive in any ways and her family thought it was good, well, then I don't go and apologize to her, Jesse. If you don't think it was that bad, she was still dating the old friend. That is the moment to disclose the feelings. You giving advice? Yes, I love this story. He went on offense. My ex broke up with me. After 5 years, we were each other's first everything. It's been 5 months. What do I do from here? Still feeling heartbroken as fuck, man. How old are you? I'm dope. Have been in contact since, other than getting my shit back. My girlfriend, so I'm dope. My girlfriend broke up with me. Okay, good. Thanks for I just like to get an age clarification because you said it was the first. My girlfriend broke up with my after my 5 years. We were each other's first everything. It's been 5 months. What do I do from here? Still feeling heartbroken. First and foremost, write out your full story and I'll give you my take. If you want to do it right now, I can go to Coach Mac McCarthy at gmail.com and you can email it because you're not going to be able to do enough characters here. Otherwise, I would suggest you, if this is your first serious relationship and you're really having trouble with it, I would suggest you do a live coaching session. I will refund you if it's not good, if it's not useful or helpful. But you need to get your story out first. So if you want to share your story on the live stream right now, if you want a private video response, then go to writemac.com, and that's a paid service. Wasn't anything else to do but to meet the family and drink some beer. This chat lagging on me. I think this ghost your channel's. It's a ghost. Your channel's ghost. All I said was, I get a reason? If not, I'll just move along. Jesse, I wouldn't even have asked that. I would have just moved along. Obviously, she's sensitive about photos that are shared on Facebook. Boo hoo. I mean, the level of sensitivity some people have in relationships is ridiculous. If you had a good time, you met her family, everything went quote unquote perfect in your eyes, you're obviously on different wavelengths. You're in a situation right now where you're thinking, what the fuck happened here? This is an individual that sounds like they're a bit petty. Oh my God, you posted a photo of us with us publicly on my Facebook. I unfriended you. Well, thanks for telling me who you are, hon. See ya. It was literally a pic of her after I had smushed a cupcake in her face. Nah, I'm not apologizing. Your coaching really helped me, but I don't know what happened with this chick. Really at a loss. Oh, well. She was offended. She thought it was too much. Maybe she didn't want to share the picture of you and her together. Maybe she was embarrassed by the cupcake. I don't know. But if you didn't feel like, as a good person that you are, Jesse, that it was offensive, rude, and you didn't do it with any bad intentions, then don't apologize. Secondly, if she felt like it was bad or rude, maybe this is a good sign for you guys not to be together because she's a highly sensitive individual that's really worried about what other people think on Facebook. And so if you do one wrong thing on Facebook, she's going to unfriend you and never talk to you again. Sounds highly immature in my book. What do you think? When we do a meetup for those of us that are here at every live stream, good evening, everyone. When we do a meetup for those of us, What? I don't understand your question, Rockstar. Have you ever had a manicure, Mac? Yes, I actually. A manicure is the hands, right? Yeah, I have. A girl that I dated briefly did it one time. She wanted to do it badly, and it was funny because a friend of mine I worked with was like, "Did you get your fucking hands manicured?" um, but in the living in Thailand, there's a lot of places, massage places and things like that, where they will give you manicures and pedicures, and a lot of men get them here. But yeah, so I had that one time. That was playful. Why is she mad? Sorry, damn, autocorrect. I was asking when we could all do a meetup in person, just being silly, glad to be here. Oh yeah, Rockstar. Well, I've floated the idea, which isn't possible at all right now, of you know, setting up something in Phuket, Thailand. That would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Yeah, man, you're right. First one after the breakup we discussed, so kind of stung because it's like, what the fuck? But I'm not gonna lose sleep over. By the way, no more Mr. Nice Guy. It's funny, Jesse. I have a client that I've talked to multiple times. He's in his early 20s, and I'm telling him to read that book and a couple other books. And we've met up a couple times. I'm like, did you read that book yet? No. I'm like, can you please read that book? Okay, because I'm not saying it's the Bible. I'm not saying it's this, but in some people's specific situations, it really hits home. And I think it's pretty well written. It's not boring. It touches on a lot of things, and a lot of guys, it suits their situation. Cool, man. You got a passport. That's a start. Where are you at in the world, Rockstar? I mean, maybe you told me before, but I'm not sure. And uh, how old are you? Just curious, because I got other people on deck here. I just asked this guy earlier. Was there another? There was actually another. I don't know if I already shared this yesterday, but I had an update from a client from a long time ago. Baton Rouge, I'm 40. All right, 39. Right on, man. Louisiana. There's good duck hunting out there, isn't there? Home of Will Clark. Out there in Louisiana. I had I had a good friend out here that lived out here that worked on the oil wells and stuff like that. George. I love the accent over there. Read the book. Seriously, read it. While self-reflecting and shit got emotional, what people have noticed the change. See, you know what it is, Jesse, too, is that that book wouldn't resonate. You might even not give it a chance uh if you weren't in a bad breakup. And so it's the timing of that book that really, really seeps through, right? Like if you're kind of like seeing some women, you're dating and this, you're like, I don't really need to read that. Or if you were in the middle of your relationship, Jesse, and you were seeing that woman, you would be thinking to yourself, like, I don't need that. I don't need that. And then the breakup happens, and then you read it and you're like, oh my goodness. Right? Like this is hitting home. This is exactly, and so, I'm writing a book right now that'll serve some people, but these are books that I feel like certain people, they touch them. And a lot of guys have issues with being quote unquote too nice, or not being true to their feelings, or backing off too much. No more Mr. Nice Guy, Dr. Robert Glover. I think it's a really, I'm gonna actually have to reread it because I forgot a lot of it. And uh before, I would have hounded this girl to be like, things were great, but this time I was just like, why? And she didn't respond. So I'm like, okay. I've told people many times, text or talking, agree to disagree, or just accept things and just go, okay, right? You unfriended me. Did you want to tell me why? No, you should know already. Okay, done. Bye bye. That's you having value in yourself. That's pretty cool. You see Will Clark around? He's a big dude, isn't he? He's probably like 6'2", 6'3". I was a San Francisco Giants fan in the 80s, so still am, but and I was a duck hunter when I was young. My father loves hunting. Cajun style. Cajun food. Yeah, the food over there is supposed to be good. Some crawdads. If you have any further questions, Mr. I'm Dobe, shoot. Will is a big dude, and he still has the sweetest left-handed swing I've ever seen. Yeah, he did have a nice swing, huh? He did have a nice swing. The food is phenomenal. Are you from Louisiana? Is that where you're from? Home of Terry Bradshaw also? Oh, here we go. Okay, so Dobe sent it in right on, real time, buddy. Sent you an email. I got it right in front of me. You ready? You ready to share this with everyone? Also aware that handling it this way would be the best way to get it turned around. Maybe not this one, but when you don't chase, they're like, whoa, what the fuck? Maybe I'm not that great. Yeah, and it's your way of moving forward, Jesse, but it's also your way of showing that I have value, and you create a mystery which switches the tables where they're like, are they ever going to call me again? And it surprises them. Will Clark is an ex-San Francisco Giants first baseman. Yes, sir. Born and raised. So Dobe sent me his story really quick because, like I said, you can't. It's a little difficult. You can only send 200 characters on the live stream. So we'll get to this right now just for you, Mr. Dobe. My ex-girlfriend and I were together for 5 years. We were each other's first everything. She would always talk about us getting married and future plans. We met freshman year in college, another state, and after both moved to California. Where in California? I'm from the Bay Area. Just curious. I moved here to be closer to her while she was in medical school. Okay, that sounds good. She's going to be a doctor. That's pretty prestigious. However, we were still 2 hours away, so it's basically long distance, but not too long. I would visit on the weekend, and she told me she loved me, but didn't feel like she was in love with me. Okay, so a lot of times you got a 5-year relationship. This is your first serious relationship. You're 26 years old. This isn't personal. A lot of times, San Jose, no shit. I just dealt with someone in San Jose. Wow, that was from San Jose. Interesting. I'm from San Mateo. So to me, that didn't make sense. I asked for more information. So here's the thing. You don't want to believe it, first of all. You're together 5 years. You're still in love. She's not in love. She told me she felt I lost my confidence. At the same time, how could I feel so confident living in a new city by myself? See, this is good that you sent this, bro. Okay. Take it easy, Jesse. Good to hear from you, bud. I hope you're doing well. Okay. Had one protest and you're okay. Well, I respect what you do and who you are, Jesse. Stay strong, buddy. So she said, to me, that didn't make sense. So I asked for more information. Of course, it didn't make sense if you were together 5 years, right? And you didn't see it coming. She told me she felt I lost confidence, which is probably the number one thing women are unattracted to, a lack of confidence or a loss of confidence. At the same time, how could I feel so confident living in a new city by myself, starting a new stressful job, and her being at school meeting and wanting to study with other guys? Okay, so when you write this, that's exactly the narrative and the tone that would be unattractive. So if you say like, well, how could I be more confident? She doesn't want to hear that. It's weak, it's needy, it's pitiful. I'm just being honest. So you think to yourself like, how can she's in medical school. She sounds like she's got some strong will. She's a strong individual. It's a turnoff that you'd be complaining about moving to a new city and a stressful job and her meeting to want to study with other guys. Now, the idea that she's studying with other guys in med school would bug anyone. But I would say that it's something you have to deal with. And the minute you start getting insecure about it, she's going to lose attraction for you, dude. But if it's a real problem for you, well, then maybe that's a reason for you to not continue being together. To end all of this, she ended up breaking up with me over text after 5 years. Okay, whether it's 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, if you're 2 hours apart, a lot of people break up over text. So sometimes people will make it like, and it was done over text. It doesn't matter. Okay, don't make that a dramatic thing. If she did it in person, if she did it on phone, Would it be better? Would it be more respectful? Sure, maybe, but it still would fucking hurt. So don't hang on to the idea. And she texted me, let it go. Felt so bad. I still feel heartbroken. Absolutely, you're fucking heartbroken. You were together for 5 years. This is a natural thing. Even a week before the breakup, she was telling me how she missed me. It makes no sense. Not sure where to go from here. I've been in no contact since 5 months other than getting my stuff back. There's some parts of the story that seem like they're missing. So if you were together 5 years, you probably have some more details that you don't maybe want to share. So if you want to do a live coaching session, we can unpack it in that. Or if you wanted to extend your story, possibly in a private video response. But if it's been 5 years, it's tough. I mean, the longer the relationship, the deeper, the first everything. I get it. There's more to this story to unpack than just what you've written. And the reason it doesn't make sense to you is because you don't want it to make sense. Okay. So she could miss you right now. She could miss you a week before you broke up, but that doesn't mean she didn't still want to break up. Bottom line is, I'm going to get real with you real quick, is that I'd share anything. That's it, man. There really wasn't more detail. So there's 5 years and you have 5 sentences to tell me about your relationship and your breakup. There's more crumbs to the end of it, I would say. And bottom line is, when someone's in a new school, going into a new career, you're 2 hours apart, you're just straining the relationship. But here's what I'm going to add that is the most general part that I can give you from my experience dealing with breakups over 3 years now and talking to not 1,000 people, hundreds of people about their personal breakups. If it's 2 hours away, if it's 3 hours away, if it's a state away, it's long distance, it still affects things. You're only seeing each other on the weekends. When someone starts a new school, when someone moves to a new place or a new job like yourself, it affects things. Is that your fault or her fault? No, but it affects things. Now, here's the big one, and you're not going to like this one. You said that I'm sorry, 26. I'm 26 and she's 23. Here's the big one, dude. And you were her first everything, first boyfriend, probably first intimacy, ... Most people in Western cultural, especially, let's just say North America or whatever, they don't stay with the first person they've been with. That's not personal. That's the 21st century. That's curiosity. It's boredom. It's mediocrity. It's staleness. It's not personal. A lot of times, I just talked to a woman, say 3 or 4 days ago, 28 years old, lawyer, had a lot going for her. And she had 2 great relationships in her early 20s. And one of them was her first from high school. They stayed together through college, woody, woody, woo. Then she's like, it was like 5 or 6 years. And she just was like calmly saying, like, after 5 or 6 years, there just wasn't anything else to grow from. There wasn't any, like, people get bored after 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. And when you're in your 20s, curiosity comes out and you're like, wow, I've only been with one person. And you're like, why? It's just how it is. Society and the way things are now, your grandma and grandpa and your great grandma and your great grandpa stay together for 50 years through thick and thin. It's just not the case anymore. People in their 20s now go, wow, my friend's been dating, 6 guys on Tinder. That seems like so much fun. And they actually really think, what would it be like to be single in 23? I'm in a new town, in a new place. And so you think, like, how could they do this to me? How could they break up so easy? It wasn't easy. And she probably still has feelings for you. But the reality is, she wants to see what it's like to be single, most likely. And it's very, very common for women and men in their 20s to suddenly abort a long-term relationship with not a lot of explanation, because the explanation is, I just want to be single. I just want to see what it's like to hook up with some other people. And they probably won't tell you that, right? And when she says she's no longer in love with you, that means there's less excitement, there's less attraction. And I'll just add, that might just be a case of being together as long as you have. And there's some monotony there, there's some mediocrity, and it's not your fault. The things that keep people together over 5 years, 10 years, right, is kids, marriage, house, a mortgage. Those are things that keep people together, right? And if you look at relationship, like dynamics in the sense like, oh, they've been together 10 years, 15 years. There's more entanglements than just being boyfriend and girlfriend usually. Think about that for a minute. Like I said, someone's together 4 or 5 years. At 4 or 5 years, usually someone's thinking, all right, are we going to get married? Are we going to get married? Okay, that would be the next step. The next step would be to buy a house or a condo together. All right, the next step would be to have kids. Like you have these steps. And if you're at 4 or 5 years and you're like, yeah, I don't see that next step to marriage. I don't see us living together. And the next step for that individual is like, wow, it would be really interesting just to see what it would be like to be single. Or wow, it'd be really interesting to see what it was like, to start my new career doing something else. The idea that you guys had just both moved for a year also put some things on it. So he writes, how do I stop feeling like it's my fault that she broke up with me and that I fucked everything up, thinking that there isn't anything out there for me now or that I can't do better? That's something that I would have to unpack with you in a live coaching session. And what I would ask you to do is probably do an honest self-assessment of your life as an individual without looking at who you are with her. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm dope. Putting aside the relationship, what would you say your life is on a scale of 1 to 10? Like your career, your job, your finances, your family and friend life, on a scale of 1 to 10, are you happy with things? Are you content as an individual, not with your girlfriend or your ex? Take it easy, Mac. Okay. If we all ever meet up, I'll boil some up. I don't think they have crawdads out here in Thailand, but we got some great fucking seafood, man. We got prawns that are like bigger than this screen, man. Bobby Bellman, SoCal's finest. How you doing, buddy? I'd share anything it is, man. There's really wasn't more detail. Saw you guys on, just saying hello, good night, fun schwa. How are you? First serious relationships always hit the hardest. They do. No one's right. Thanks, no one, for your no one opinion. It is. It's difficult. And I'll add something that your first serious breakup with your first serious lover or love, you better get out in front of it and come to peace with it, because it will sabotage or hurt future relationships, because you go into the next relationship really guarded with your feelings because you didn't really heal up. And that's why we recommend a live coaching session. Laugh out loud. Never been to a baseball. Actually, I'm not a fan of the sport because they take forever to do anything. Yeah, baseball's slow, and you have to know the game. It's all anticipation. That being said, Mary, you used to live in Southern California, and I would say LA and San Diego are great places for baseball because night games in the summer are beautiful. 5 years, respect the fact that they moved on and do the same. Can't hold on to someone forever. And you know what? I'll add to what Fun Schwan said, and you don't want to hear this right now. In this day and age, 5 good years, that's a good run. That's not like, let me just regret this, I fucked up. That's a good run. That's a good relationship. But I heard going to a game is actually really fun. I can't believe you've never been to a baseball game in your life. Usually people that break up by text is mainly for 2 situations. It is a moment of braveness where they finally find the courage to do it. That usually can't do it if they see them. They usually don't care about the person enough to make a big deal. They just want an easy and fast out. Says May. Yeah, possibly. If your primary, like, let me add this to it. If your primary way of communicating has been text, which I would say a majority of, especially people in their 20s, they just communicate through text all the time. Would you agree? I mean, they don't talk on the phone a lot. They would rather text everything, anything all the time. I have a friend right now that says that they have talks with their friend with they don't talk on the phone, but they just talk through text. So, the idea that they did it through text, if someone communication is 90% through text, don't find it far-fetched that they would actually use that venue to contact you. And like I said, yeah, maybe it's a weak move, maybe you didn't like it, but it wouldn't feel any better or any easier if it was in person. So holding on to that doesn't really serve you. My ex left me, but she also inspired me to quit smoking and gave me a brighter outlook on life, as well as making my family closer to me. But I feared relationships since. Well, that's interesting. See, the thing is when you come out of a breakup and you reassess yourself as an individual, it's really crisis is an opportunity. And you start going to work on other areas of your life because you're at ground zero and you're like, wow, even though they hinted to me that I should quit smoking, maybe now's the time. Maybe I should get closer to my family. And really, that's the silver lining in a breakup, is when you start looking at the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror and you go, all right, let me get to work on myself here. And let me put myself in a position where I'm not hurt this bad again. And if this individual came back to me, I would be stronger, better, more improved individual for myself. If you fear relationships after, then maybe you're holding some things. Stashfield 2.0. Interesting name. Where did that come from? Stashfied. I'll have to watch the whole stream tomorrow. Right on, hun. Keep up the great work, coach. Well, thank you for your support. You know I appreciate you. Where's your power? I'm biased for sure is the most common one. How do I stop feeling like it's my fault that she broke up with me? This is, like I said, I would need to know more of your story. And we would need to unpack that question specifically. There's something that you're framing this as your fault. And there's more to that story. There's more to that. There's layers to that onion that we would have to unfold. 10 minutes in the new city, don't have any friends here yet because of the virus. I have a top job in business, will make more money than her when she graduates. It does. Here's the thing, and I'm not, here's the thing, I'm Dob. Money's not going to make you happy. It fucking helps. Rob would say it helps. The fact that you're going to make more money than her is not going to bring her back. It's not going to be impressive to her. And if someone tells me, well, I make a lot of money, that's not my question. Are you proud and privileged of your job? Or are you proud and privileged of the money you make? That's two different things. I don't mind someone that puts money first and foremost. I get it, right? The idea that like I make a lot of money. No, my question would be, are you proud and privileged of what you do? Do you get to help them out in some certain way? And are you significantly good at your job? Those are the four things that would make you a happier individual. The idea that you somehow are comparing the fact that you're going to make more money than her is bitter. The idea that 10 minus, I don't know what this means. 10 minus, the new city don't have any friends here yet because of the virus. How long have you lived in the new city? So you're minus 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. That's extremely negative. Breaking up by text allows a reduced layer of emotion when someone wants to avoid the other elements of emotion may come to play in a person on the phone. There's 7 billion people in the world. You're being dramatic. But now that I think about it, is the only way they have to control about it, because it's just monologue, not a conversation. And you're saying on a 1 to 10, you're a minus 10 right now? Oh, okay. Because it said 10 minus. I don't know what that means. So you're a 10 in your life outside of this. So sometimes when people are doing good in all other parts of their life, I'm dope. It's really hard to deal with the breakup because they don't understand why someone would leave them, because they're doing so well. That's a different type of situation. It takes you a while to digest it. The bottom line is you were together 5 years. It's going to take you some time. You are going to have to get excited about your future and the things that you're doing moving forward as an individual. And so, I go through a series of questions in live coaching and whatnot to go through that. You're right. I did ask about finances. And so when you got specific about that, but I was asking you as an individual, but you still threw in that you're going to make more than her. So that supplies me with some sort of, she doesn't realize how good I am type of attitude. This breakup, from what you've told me, which isn't a whole lot, it wasn't personal, but you're taking it personal. It wasn't your fault, but you're taking it as your fault. And the reason you are is because you're looking for a reason and you didn't really get one that you respect. But the reality is, this is what she told you. She's no longer in love with you. What does that mean to you? If someone says they're no longer in love with you, but they love you, that usually means they're no longer attracted to you. How is your intimacy on a scale of 1 to 10? So let me ask you this: on a scale of 1 to 10, what was your trust? On a scale of 1 to 10, what was your intimacy and physical attraction? On a scale of 1 to 10, what was your connection at the end? I'm dope. Dang, Mac Daddy, this chat's lagging. Is anyone else having trouble with the lag, or does Mary just have a cheap Wi-Fi connection? Mary, money isn't everything, but it is something. Money counts. Money counts. I'm just saying, if I ask you about your job and you just tell me about the money, I would encourage people that, can you have a job where you make good money and you like it? I mean, do you like the job? Do you like what you do? Are you proud of what you do? Are you proud of what you do because you make a lot of money? I'm not judging you for that. At the end, it would be trust 7 because she might have been talking to another guy. But money does not dictate the understanding of what makes a person happy. Like I said, for me, I think that one thing that gets lost for a lot of people in the happiness department is your level of camaraderie, whether your camaraderie comes from work, your friends and family. But that's a big one in societies that's lagging right now. I know COVID's kind of fucking that up. But some people, I have friends out there that say, hey, look, I'm meeting up with friends on Zoom and we're having chats and drinks and beer. So people are getting creative and, and stuff like that. And the other thing is contribution. How are you contributing to your family, friends, your workplace, and society as a whole? Those are two things that make you really, really increase happiness as an individual. Okay. If you were together 5 years and she's 23 years old and you were the first everything, I think that it's not, like I said, it's not personal. It just could be at a point where it got boring and she moved to a new place and she was at a point in her life where she wants to see what it's like to date other people. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. It's probably and it's more common that the woman at 23, 24, 25 ends it. And I talk to people and they're like, yeah, my first boyfriend, he was pretty good. We got along well, but it was just my first. And then we just got to a place where I started to move in a different direction, this or that and the other. And I'll tell you what changes it, I'm dope, is usually if you were saying she's studying with guys and different things like that. She's interacting with new people with new ideas, and probably a couple of her friends or girlfriends, new friends, they'd go out to drinks and she probably thought to herself, wow, it'd be nice if I was single. Trust was a 7 because in this situation, she just fell out. Intimacy because of her stress at school, but I guess that's just because she didn't love me as much. Well, that's just an assumption. The bottom line, whether it's because of this, because that, you're not absolutely sure, but it's a 6, right? Imagine hitting 6 figures and realizing it's not enough. Odds of her talking to someone else is probably high. I assume that high is for me. Physical, I was never in bad shape, or was she? I will remember you with the month. A woman, infinite struggle is the best I can do. Hypergamy is about doubt. So you're 5 months out of this. I'm dope. What do you want? What do you want as an individual? You want her to come back to you? You want to what would be the ultimate ideal thing for I'm dope? Because right now, instead of like, oh, I can't believe she did this, it's my fault, I fucked up. No, no, like present day, 5 months, what would be the ultimate thing right now for you? They made 31 days of May. A woman's infinite struggle is best that I can do. Hypergamy is about doubt. I'm dope. I don't know, man. If she came back, I feel like it would hurt too much, especially if she got with someone else. Just move on and feel no more heartbreak. Have you talked to someone about this, a therapist or close friends, where you just got it out for like 2 hours, 3 hours? Or are you just giving snippets and repeating yourself to people that don't really care or don't want to hear about it anymore? Second part to that is, so what have you done to move on? Feeling no more heartbreak. Listen, 5 months out of a 5-year relationship, it's going to take time. It takes a little bit of time. So that's you're not being weak or anything like that. That'll take time. I've been in therapy for it because I was extremely depressed. Good for you. Has it helped? And if it helped, how did it help? I've talked to people in live coaching sessions that have told me that my approach was a nice change from going to therapy. I don't tell someone like don't go to therapy. I think that when you're in a bad breakup or you're in a tough place, seek out different solution-based things. Be skeptical, but try different things, because I know when I was in a bad breakup years back, I tried a few different things and they really helped and surprised me. I did hypnotherapy. I talked to a spiritual healer, or not a spiritual healer. She's a psychic, I guess you'd say. But her approach wasn't like telling your future. It was hard to explain, but it was great. And so be proactive besides just getting therapy. But if you're depressed, I would have to say that beyond the relationship, there's some things in your life as an individual that you're not happy with also, if I had to guess. If that's not true, then you're really hung up on the fact that I can't believe that she would break up with me. It helped in the ways how they told me to think about things. The therapist told me my ex seems immature. Okay. Mature or not makes no difference. I'm just saying it's very common for individuals to be with their first love and be in their 20s. Like I said, maybe you don't even want to hear this, but in all likelihood, someone gets bored and curious, and they get to a point where they stop wanting to negotiate or try things. And a lot of times someone goes, especially the fact that you said you guys are both in physical good shape. So let's just say you're both good looking in your early 20s. Then that means you guys have an extreme amount of options. And so it gets to a point where someone goes, and this isn't personal, they're just like, wow, I've only been with one person. It happens because of that. And then you might think, oh, I could have done this right, I could have done that right. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. All right, we're up to an hour. Does anyone have any questions here? I've been doing everything possible to improve working out, studying for certifications for my job, going to therapy, running, planning to do more once the lockdown lifts. Okay. Well, keep it up. Like I said, if you want to do a live coaching with myself and fully unpack it, if it's not useful or helpful, we can give you a refund. But if you feel like you've done everything possible, then keep doing it and keep moving forward. There would be other questions I'd have before we do a coaching session, but otherwise, it takes time. It takes time being a part of a live stream like this, unpacking some things. But I will say this, you do have to reframe it out of it being your fault or that you fucked up. You have to frame it into it's a breakup. You didn't fuck up. You didn't fuck up. That's the thing that When I talk to someone for 2 hours, 3 hours in a live coaching session, at the end of it, you can talk about it, and you wanna get to a point where you realize, "Wait a minute, I didn't fuck up that bad, I'm a pretty good catch." Or I did do some things wrong, but I need to just take responsibility for those things in my life right now. And you need to get to a place where you didn't fuck up, you broke up, and that shit happens. And then you need to find some things looking forward that you're excited about. And you're at 5 months right now. At some point, you need to put yourself out there and go on some bad dates. Now, the elephant in the room is the idea that there's COVID. So I don't know what city you're in or what's going on. If you're in San Jose, like how that's going on. Now we got these other political things going on. I understand that would make it more difficult. Just learn from your mistakes without beating yourself up. Self-talk's big also. Yeah, give yourself a break sometimes. And working out, I would say, is great. Studying for going to therapy, running, planning to do more once the lockdown lifts. I would also say read a couple good books on relationships and attraction. That's something that I would unpack with you, and if we went further. So I don't know if I shared this, but I had a client that donated $50, and I had read his story over a year ago, and I said, I'm dope. I would highly recommend a live coaching session. I decided to donate $50, which is basically $70 Canadian, because you really helped me hindsight some of my problems. We contacted via emails, which you also made a video with, from that girl who got that car accident, which in retrospect feels like it was just a heavy story to tell simply to turn down someone. Because long story short, I never seen her again. Even she still was contacting me through Facebook Messenger from time to time. But this all thing helped me figure out my neediness. Been single for 4 years before, so having a couple successful dates doesn't always mean anything. She contacted me from time to time, but it was really distant. If you don't want to see me, then don't contact me. In the meantime, I fixed myself, got a steady job in a new city, been really lucky in life for the past 6 months, even met someone else. We dated 3 months before the pandemic and made it official last week when we meet up again. A girl with who I can really have fun with, and we have a fantastic intimacy. Keep up the good work. Stay safe during the whole thing. And I wrote back to him. And this guy was in a really tough breakup, but he was also at a really big crossroads where he wasn't very good with women in relationships. So he wrote back, "Thank you very much for the offer concerning the donation. It's really much appreciated." So he had made a donation. I said, "Hey, look, you made a $50 donation out of nowhere from a year ago. If in the future you want to do a live coaching session, I'll contribute that donation towards it." So he said, "And sure, I will keep you updated about this." She actually the first one I've had in my life that is so respectful about my feelings, thoughts, and needs. She even bought me a brand new gaming mouse, which wasn't the most expensive one, so to say, but some other little gifts. Obviously, she wasn't forced to do that, but she did it freely and from the heart. To quote her words, "It's kind of neat to be appreciated for who you really are, because you see, I don't have to wear a mask or hide it in disguise with her. I can just be simply the real me." And this is really interesting because this is someone asked, like, what's love? What's this? Like, this is when you get to a place where you're in a really good relationship, this is what you feel. You could be yourself. She's really easygoing, and the really easygoing, and the flow between us is just simply natural. That's how a good relationship is, right? We speak to each other every single day, from simple good morning, good night kind of thing to a conversation that can last the whole day. She's also considering to move to my city next year, so it gives us around 9 months to discover how things are going to turn out between us. She takes time to discover about my passions and interests, and seems to find particular interests as well. She often asks for links on my favorite chemistry channels, stuff like that. We try not to move things too fast, but at the time, We try to have projects and goals together, which I think can really help a relationship nurture. We communicate well on every level. Both of us practice meditation, so we're kind of spiritually awakened. We lived a shared of great memories during the last week together, and I guess it's only the beginning. Maybe I found the one, coach. I'll keep you updated, but as things go on, nurturing and blossoming into something really amazing. I've been lucky one amongst all the other guys that were lurking around her. It feels great to win the race sometimes. Thank you very much for all your time you dedicated to me, and most importantly, keep up the good work so that other guys like me figure out their toxic patterns, fix themselves, and find a great girl to share their lives with. This is one of those ones that was just really nice to hear back from someone like this. So you guys want to hear his original story if I go backwards? So his original story was this. You ready? Hi, Mac. I've been watching some of your videos, and this is February 9, 2019. So I just gave you the recent connection. This was his story originally. I've been watching some of your videos, and I must admit I really like them. They sound truly genuine compared to a lot of others with the alpha male stuff, which I'm really not really into. So here it is. I'm 29 years old from Quebec, Canada. French is my language. I'm a metalhead, long hair, really long beard, and I play guitar and bass. So I met this girl via the internet dating app from which she approached me. We are separated by 45 minutes ride, which in itself is not really enough for me to consider the long distance. She is 21, smart and everything. She is in her second year of her law bachelor's degree, and prior to that, she's made a year in biology. At first, I wasn't really much interested and wasn't even paying attention to her, though I took time to reply when she approached me. And the more we spoke, the more she was catching my attention. Weirdly enough, this girl is my complete opposite in every way. We have absolutely nothing in common, but eventually we started dating. Things were going very well, and we both started becoming emotionally invested in each other. But then the tables flipped. We planned our next date on January 2nd to celebrate the new year together. Though on New Year's Day, she was driving with her dad when a drunk dude that decided to take the wheel anyway collided into her car. She made a concussion on the impact, but not without the aftermath. She lost usage of her left leg. I tried to be their supporter, but I know I wasn't really enough. I can't really put myself in the situation where I could really understand her, but I did my best. At first, she was becoming more and more loving towards me, and she felt like I was supportive. But after a few days, she told me she made the decision to go on a trip when she gets out of the hospital, when, of course, she finds back usage of her leg. Neuroplasticity makes miracles, which is true. So she can gather some money and at the same time find herself. She asked me what I want to do. Either we keep in contact during the whole process, cut off contact, definitely never talk to each other again, or cutting off contact and leave the door open so she can write me and she comes back. She basically gave me that choice because she didn't want me to see her that way in her hospital bed and didn't want to see me neither before she leaves because she felt we were going to get hurt. So after a few days thinking about it, I decided to leave the door open, but move on because at that point in time, I was hurting myself, felt powerless towards her, and I didn't know what to say anymore. I told her I respect her choice to leave so she can find herself. She told me how much she feels for me, and what happens right now doesn't at all remove her feelings for me and how much she is sorry for doing this, and a hell out of more cute, bad, sad things. To shorten this out would be, so I told her I was deleting her completely from social media to help me move on. Not blocking her, though, to leave the door open, like I said earlier. She said that she understands. We said goodbye and went no contact. I didn't break the rule and didn't write back since. I started getting back on track, dating other girls and having hookups and having fun. Funny thing is, I'm moving with my brother in her city this summer since my brother goes to the same university as her, but I'm not moving there because of her, but for me. The field I want to study at the university is only given at the particular university. I'm also becoming bitter in my current city, losing motivation for everything, and I'm not able to find a steady job. been that way for years, and I'm tired of to feel like a complete trash here. I need a change, and that city will be the change I need. I know this story is a bit long, contains a lot of deals, but honestly, since I went no contact, I can't get her out of my head. I'm usually the type of guy that moves on easily, no matter how long the relationship, and not emotionally invested and get attached. But that girl, she's just always on my mind. What do you think about this? Thank you for the advance. Wonderful day. So I had given him back a take in a video, and basically I had told him move, because if you're not having a job and you're having trouble with school, that's something you should put first in your life. The fact that he was able to block her, it's a really difficult situation that you're dating someone and then they become in an accident and they have a paralyzed leg. This is not normal. It's not the average breakup. And I think he handled it pretty well, but he did need to consider that if he was basically miserable where he was at, to take the bull by the horns and move to the new town, look for a new job, enter the new school, and start doing things for himself right now. And if down the road he wanted to revisit this thing, he could. And so I gave you the other end of that. Over a year later, he's seeing someone else and whatnot. And sometimes, stories like this, sometimes people might feel like it's obvious, but a lot of people out there just need reassurance that they're going in the right direction, or they didn't do something bad or wrong. And so that's where writing out your full story really helps. All right, folks, we're at 111, Mary. I don't know if that's time for me to make a wish, as you like to do, but it is. Does anyone have any closing questions for me? Live stream. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate it. Thanks for rolling tonight, Mary. It's always a pleasure. Boys will be boys. That's absolutely true. Please won't stop thinking for now. It takes time. I'm Dope. Thanks for sharing what's going on with you. Sour Knob, Coach got a cue. You got a question? Go for it, bud. No problem. I'm Dope. I'm here for you. If you want to book that, like I said, if it's not useful or helpful, I will give you your money back. Mary's had one before. Azam's had one before. I'm genuine in my approach, and maybe I would say it's probably, I'm not going to say I'm better than a therapist, but it's different. I talk with you rather than down to you. And so I don't know how your therapist goes about it. It's different. You canceled your Netflix. What do you mean got a cue? Sour Bob, like a line. Girls uniting, plan ruined. Anyone else here? Rob, you still on deck? I hope you're well, bud. Rockstar, it's always a pleasure. May, always a pleasure. Fun schwa's off. Said hello. No one. Jesse, thanks for chiming in. Yeah, go ahead. Drop the question. And we'll close out with Sourbaugh. Give it time. You will be like what I see in him, but improve yourself. Don't hate the players or the game. Sourbaugh, I'm waiting for the question. Drop it, dude. How do I fight back the thought that there will be no other person like my ex in my life? Great question. First of all, don't fight it. Neutralize it. So if you, instead of saying like, oh, stop thinking that, go, you know what? She was a great girlfriend and I was a great boyfriend. The fact that you were able to pull one individual like this is something. Reason with the thought. So I've talked about this before in other videos. I remember when I was really going through the bad breakup I had, I thought about my grandmother, who had been married 3 times and was on a 4th husband and had 3 husbands die. And I thought to myself, Jesus, man, grandma's tough, right? And she pivoted out of relationships. And my point in reasoning with that was every guy that she had new husband was a different experience, and there were different relationships, but she was able to move forward and move on. And I was thinking to myself, then you start looking at other people that are colleagues or friends or family members that have had breakups and have moved on and met someone else. And you go, this is very human. And the idea is that, that there's only one person that you'll ever meet. And I get it. I get it because every individual is unique. And so you think to yourself, well, I'll never meet one like this before. Yeah, you're right. But that doesn't mean you can't meet one equal or better and match to you. It's actually really an opportunity to meet someone that lines up better for you. I know that when I had a really bad breakup 10, 11 years ago, I was thinking that in my head and went through my mind. And then my next relationship about a year and a half later, I remember thinking, wow, like for me, that new relationship checked more boxes. And I remember, and that relationship lasted about 2.5 years. But I remember when I got that new one, I was like, wow, this is nice. And I'll tell you why it works, Sauerball, is that in between that 1 year, I had read some things about relationships. I had worked on myself. I got my career in line. I did a bunch of work. So in that time, when I met the next woman, I feel like I upgraded, to be quite honest. Now, I don't know if both of the women I found highly attractive, but when you, how should I say this? When you upgrade in a relationship, it doesn't mean the person that you are with is necessarily better overall. It's a better match for you. That's when you get in a long relationship, you're looking for someone that matches up with your morals and values, is going to help you grow as an individual. And so what happens in a breakup is a lot of times you were highly attracted to them. There was good intimacy. You trusted them, but there was some kind of problem there that continued to happen. And then you had a breakup. And then once you had that breakup, you're thinking like, I could never meet someone like this again. But what you're not thinking is, could I meet someone that's a better match that lines up better with me? Yes, absolutely. Will you meet the same exact person again? No. And you probably wouldn't want to, because this relationship that you were in had issues. That's why you broke up. Hope that helps you. I honestly think I have a scarcity mindset because it was my first relationship. Well, you probably do. You are always grateful for an ex if you invest in yourself. Thank you for that, Mac, because you made me feel like I'm not a hoe. I pivot out of a relationship better than my exes. Fuck yeah, dude. If you pivot out of a relationship and you know why people pivot out of relationships? Not just because of rebounds, not just because of monkey branching, which can be true if you want to put it that way. Some individuals, you want to know the people that get over an ex a lot quicker or move forward a lot quicker? The ones with a lot of self-confidence based on their own feelings of feeling good about their life as an individual. I like my job. I like my family life. I have a spiritual element to things. I feel like I'm good looking. I feel like these things, so those people generally that are happy with themselves end up finding someone else to fill that void quicker. Thanks, Mary. That's a positive one. There's 7 billion people in the world. That's the absolute truth. Women always handle breakups overall better. That helped. Thanks, Coach. Almost done writing journal. Day one after breakup, I said to myself, I can never handle breakups, and I'd not fallen in relationships. The place I am now, I can go through it again if it happens. You're going to be okay, bud. You're doing the right thing. And I gave you a little bit of shit when you first came on here, and I was a little tough on you, and you've continued to live streams and ask good questions. And I respect that. And I think you're going to get through this. Right. And I remember you, bud. Okay. All right, folks, it's going to be curtains. Take it easy. I'll be back on tomorrow.